whiteboard clear, unpacking a fresh pack of pens, never willing to accept sincere. She's loved in many channels, every gay chant on nights and black blue lights. Heaven help them when she recites. Mysterious life, girl got skills. She moves in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. Makeshift desk and a cat that bites. When you see her coming, take your pills. No place for snowflakes or sensitive hearts. When sentiment is left to chance, she'll send you back to your start. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switches to crumpet, bends them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Verse by verse, exploring the text. She reads and recites, not knowing the tongue, learning every step of the way. Melts all your memories, feeds you facts. Her zeal is like fire, but her heart is of gold. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switch to crumpet, bans them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Smooth moderator. 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 Ooh, moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator.
Good evening, everybody, and good evening, Nagar.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yes, no, it's good. A bit
I hope you've
wet,
had a
but
good
good. Yes, had a good
Wet?
week. Very wet
Oh.
here.
Have you been getting a bit soggy in the rain?
Well, it's not that. It's all flooded around here. And I went to see a friend and I thought a road was clear. So I went that way to see her and it was flooded. So that meant I had to retrack and go another way, which meant I did about 18 miles, what usually would take 4.
Oh dear.
Yes. Anyway, but the scenery is lovely. All the fields are covered with water. It looks beautiful. So
Yeah.
it's,
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing, like it rains, we don't like it, but when it's done raining, everything just looks so much more lush.
Wow.
And, you know, all the colours of our countryside, which is actually quite fantastic compared to some countries in the world.
Yes,
I'm
I
just
think-
going to
yeah.
adjust your microphone to make sure you're as loud as possible because you do talk quite softly. And
So,
yeah, test that, speak.
hello? Is that better?
Yeah. Oh, that's
Okay.
better. Yeah. Then you
Yeah.
don't have to read. We can hear you clearly. I do the same with Ravioli when he comes in because I have a very good microphone and I'm used
Oh, I
to
see.
projecting my voice. Oh, speak of the devil. So instead of me taking down my volume too far, I like to
Mhm.
raise both of
Mhm.
yours so that everyone can hear you without you having to raise your voice.
Okay.
it, you
If
know,
I go quiet
do
at
that.
any time,
Yeah.
You tell me, and I can bring the iPad nearer to my face, so then it will be a bit louder.
Okay, I will let you know, but I've adjusted it and you do sound good.
Okay.
What do you mean general no sound? Can I have some ones in the chat from everyone if they can hear us all perfectly? Hello, Ravioli.
Oh, hi, Liz. Eleanor, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm alright. I got a bit of a cough. I've had a cough 3 days, but I'm alright.
Oh, well, I hope it's not too bad.
Well, it's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's making me think to talk shorter sentences, so I don't cough in the middle.
Right, so it's a bit tickly. Okay, no problem. Well, if you do cough, like I don't want you to cough, but if you do, mute up and take your time. Don't be like Russian or anything like that.
I think I think our friend Charlotte might be listening, so if she's listening, hello, Charlotte.
Oh, hello, Charlotte, and
Yeah.
welcome. I hope you enjoy what we're going to be discussing, which is yet to be revealed. I'm not sure if Banksy's going to turn up or not, or if he's running late. So what we're going to do is listen to one more song, give him a few minutes to catch up if he's just running behind. But if he doesn't show up, he doesn't show up. It'll be a shame, but there you go. Let's listen to one of Ravioli's favourites.
Oh, thanks. Well,
There's a hustle and a bustle. It's been hustling and a bustling a while, a long, long while. This town is now a city. It's a city on a town. It's concrete over beauty. How that came to be. Lights go out, but it's wide awake. I can feel it breathing. The city with a purpose, anticipating until I sleep. It can feel me breathing. It knows I'm listening.
Ta-da! There you go. I thought it had been a while since you might have heard that one, Ravioli. So
Yeah. No,
why
I
not
like that
put that
song,
on?
Lieutenant. Yeah, very good. Still, yeah, one of the best ones. Yeah.
Okie doke. I think it's 20 to 9. It doesn't look like Banksy's turning up. Maybe something's come up. But if he does, he's welcome to join us, no problem. I shall now announce that tonight's topic is... Oh, no. Wait a minute. Tonight's topic is... Liberalism. What do we really know?
Oh, interesting.
Yes. What do you guys think of when anyone says liberalism? What comes to mind?
Moderate politics.
Moderate politics, okay.
Yeah.
So
Neither
when you
left
say
nor right.
okay, so that's all right. So when you say neither left nor right, are you meaning what is referred to as central?
Yes,
Or
more
centrist?
central politics, and much more softer and less judgmental politics.
Okay.
Just like maybe for me, just like the individual, just focus, the individual more than, and then like the worth of the individual, maybe that kind of thing.
What do you mean?
Like I think like if like a liberal thinks about the rights of the human first, and things like like maybe the liberty and the freedoms of the individual, like primary. That's the first thing when I think of.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. It's basically anything. Yeah, I don't know. It's big. Yeah. It's,
On the negative side, I think liberalism could mean that anything goes. It doesn't have kind of very fixed limits on the left or the right. That's, I think, one of the way I understand it, that it's not, has got a lot of rules.
Okay, so I think Lord Justice in the chat has said freedoms, and I think that ties in with what you're both saying there, that it's very freeing, and sometimes possibly, Nagari, you thinking that it might go a bit too far with freeing.
Yes, too far free. Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, that's generally what I think, what comes to my mind, right? Liberalism, the word liberal, it's to do with liberty. That's what comes in my mind. And, liberty is freedom. Okay. And instantly that gets the green tick in my head. It's like, oh, that's good. That gets the green light. Freedom. Yes, I like that. So that's okay. But then what I've seen over the years has me think it's beyond freedom. It's pretty wild. But I'm interested in learning what it actually is, because I'm just going off like what I think, what I'm assuming. And I've not really read about these sort of things. So I thought, why don't we have a look into it? Because there's a lot of people who seem to think that being liberal is a good thing, and so they embrace it, and then I don't see good behaviours coming from them. So I wonder if they have a different idea of what it is to be liberal than what I have. Do they have it right? Do I have it right? Have we all got it wrong? So
yeah. Sorry, Liz.
Yeah, sorry, Ravioli, go ahead.
No, I just think I know like what it meant, say 2-3 200 years ago or 250 years different to now. I reckon, I think the definition's changed.
Well, that's interesting. Maybe we should have a look at the history of it as well then.
Yeah, I think it's like, like now, you think like, say, like inequality and things, like a lot of modern liberals want to, eradicate things of that nature, which is a good thing. But then, they often want like more government, though, don't they? They want more tiers of government. They want larger governments, which is like, if you then go to the old-fashioned definition, or like the more classical, they wouldn't be for that. So do you see how it's changed?
Right. Well, I think to be able to see that, we'll have to have a look at the old and the new, because I haven't really read into it. I've just like looked at what I've seen going on during my lifetime.
Yeah.
So I don't really know the history of it. I mean, I've heard people talk about this, that, and the other, but I'm keeping that to the back of my mind because I'm thinking, no, we need to explore this properly. Everyone seems to have their own narrative and their own spin on things. So I thought, why not bring it to the explorers on our exploration? So I've done a little DuckDuckGo search. Said origin of liberalism, right? Just a basic search. And it's brought up a Wikipedia page, it's brought up Britannica, and then as it goes down, it goes into like university encyclopedic explanations of it. That's quite detailed. So I think to start off with, we've used Britannica before.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a little bit woke, but it can be a good place to start for us to get a general grasp of it, and then we can dig deeper on what we think's right, what we think's not right, and so on and so forth, applying our critical thinking skills.
Can I just ask Lieutenant one thing before we do that? Just a quick question, like, because freedom of speech, because that's often talked, right, by everyone as a view on. So that is so that would be like sort of a liberal would be very much kind of in the heart of that, right? Liberalism, that like the freedom of the individual on that question of freedom of speech. I mean, that's something,
Well, that's what I would assume, that liberals would be all for freedom of speech, because to be liberal is to be free and open and accepting. This is my assumptions. This is what comes to mind when I hear the word liberal. Like I can apply butter to my bread liberally. Right? I can be quite liberal with the butter. So that means like I'm not being shy, like I'm generous. Okay, so I'm allowing and I'm permitting, sort of thing. That's the kind of words that I associate with liberal. So I would assume that freedom of speech, which permits someone to say the wrong thing, make a mistake and be forgiven, apologize and be forgiven, no big deal, because that's part of like human development. So I assume that a liberal would embrace that.
Yeah.
Would you?
I think so. I think, was it the guy who just said it's gone too far? Yeah, it's going too far.
If you allow anybody to say anything they like without any limits, then perhaps very ugly swearing language will be tolerated as well, and perhaps even. I'm just hypothesizing, and perhaps even slandering people in their face or saying unpleasant things about them in their face. The thing is, they always, in everything which to do with human society, you have to have limits. Otherwise, if you don't, it could go the other way, and people can speak in amazing flowery language without saying anything. If you are going to be able to say anything you like, I think it will go chaotic. So, I mean, you have to have rules for everything somehow, I feel.
Well, yes and no, and I'll explain my position on that. Certainly in the UK, there is not one word that it is illegal to use, okay? Because we have this freedom of speech or freedom of expression thing, right? Words are sounds that we make. And so whether one likes the words or not, it's not the words that can be hurting you, sort of thing. It's just your preference, whether you like words or not. So I'm all for being able to use any word under the sun. However, and that's not a but, when it comes to behaviors and the context and how one is saying what one is saying, whether one is basically intent upon harming another or not, I find needs to be questioned. I wouldn't say criminalized, because there's grey areas there as well. But certainly for it to be, I think it's a good thing for things to be, for certain behaviours to be socially unacceptable. But the use of any word, no. Because I could be telling a joke, I could just be letting someone know what's going on with me at the moment, someone who I feel quite free with, and I say, oh, I can't believe this, right?
Yeah.
And so I've used a word that someone doesn't like, but I didn't use it in a way of saying, F off, you're a nasty, you know? Like, I haven't really tried to harm anyone. I'm just trying to express myself and get something out. And I'm a bit frustrated and upset, and that's the only word that came to mind. So I said it. Okay? So that's why I think, yeah, like, that's why I think it's important that we should keep it in our system that there is not one word in this country that cannot be used, regardless of whether anyone deems it as a slur, as an insult, as a dirty word, or anything like that, right? Because there's a preference thing, there's what comes to mind, there's we are human beings, we all start off needing to develop, right? So we're not all born with the entire, none of us are born with the entire vocabulary in our minds ready to go, and we know not to say this word and to say that
How
word,
about,
you know?
how about the behavioral things rather than the words?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
some people would constantly engage in backbiting and saying negative things about other people.
Yeah.
You know, they might use kind of swear language as well, but it's not that. It's what it matters is the fact that they are constantly being negative and running other people down, and their behaviors down, being judgmental about other people behind their backs.
Yeah,
And
well, that's
yeah,
another
go on.
thing about the beauty of this country and what has helped us become a leader in the world. Sorry, there's fire engines going past. We've become leaders in the world by being quite resilient. So when we grow up, there's a good saying in this country, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never harm me, right? So we grow up resilient to that. Everyone does it. It is a human thing. And as we grow up, we start to learn to deem it as socially unacceptable, but it's never criminalized because it's something people don't learn at the same time as others, right? So we still have to have that allowance for people to learn. We're always going to have the contentions, but we can learn and we can grow from that. And it keeps us all on our toes as we go through life. We can't, you know, I think it's unrealistic to expect people to not express themselves. What if someone's just cheesed me off? And I don't hate them or anything. I don't want anything bad to come to them, but I'm just saying to me, mate, oh, what a fucking arsehole.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what should happen to me for that? Nothing. I just let off some steam. It's just, as the big nose of London would say, it's just hot air. It doesn't really mean anything. You know you're not that. So what? Like, just let it go over the top of your head like water off a duck's back sort of thing.
Well, I think if one indulges in it, in anything to excess, if somebody constantly being negative about other people, that harms them rather than other people. It makes their outlook on the world rather negative, because they're constantly looking for faults in other people, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that might open the door to bigger problems later as well.
Could be, yes. Yeah.
There's another thing here, Lieutenant. Can I read? And this guy in the chat called Outlaw King said,
Yes.
slander is a crime in itself, though, even with real freedom of speech.
Yes. Now, when you look at slander in law, now obviously I'm not like quoting anything in front of me, so I'm totally paraphrasing. My understanding is that a slander charge can be brought about if you've had a negative impact on, I think it's like the income and the lifestyle and the work and all of that. It's not just someone calling someone names, it's where it's had a detrimental impact, like a significant detrimental impact on their life, including their job, their relationships, their living standards, and all the rest of it. So it's not just, someone said this about me on the internet, so I'm going to sue. No, we are not.
Slander, doesn't it have to be actually a lie about what they say about the other person? It has to be a lie, something which they made up. No?
No, it doesn't have to be a lie. It could be, it's basically about deliberately trying to destroy their lives. You know, like the cancel culture. That's all slander, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it's about trying to get someone cancelled, so to speak.
It could be true, but saying it could affect their job. Is that what you're saying? It can be true, but just saying
it's like if you say something online that your employer might not like. Now, your employer under employment law shouldn't be taking what you say online and then determining to fire you or discipline you or anything like that at work. However, the fact that someone passed that on to your employer means they've set about to harm you. When, if say you've said something like threatening to harm someone, threatening to physically harm someone, they should immediately take that to the police, not to your employer, not to this, that, one, and the other. Should just take it to the police, and that's the correct protocol. And then the police investigate, and then you either get done or you don't, right? And in that case, when it's a threat of violence or something, the police would act upon that if they saw that threat, there was some significance there, if, you know, depending on your temperament and all the rest of it, and whether there was a history of it and stuff like that, right? But it shouldn't be taken to your employer or to your wife or your husband or anything like that.
The Google says the action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. So it has to be false, cannot be true what they've said.
Okay,
that's what Google says.
Is that Google saying about? Is that what Google says about
slander.
UK law, or is it American?
No. Well, generally, in law, it says slander. That's what slander is: make a false, damaging statement about someone.
It says here, slander in UK law refers to transient spoken defamation that causes serious harm to a person's or business's reputation. Unlike libel, permanent, slander usually requires proof of special damage, specifically financial loss.
So it's not. It's nothing to do with falsehood. It's just.
Well, it says in the UK law. This is Google again on I think the AI Google. It says definition: a false spoken statement made to a third party that lowers the claimant in the estimation of right-thinking members of society. And then it says serious harm requirement under the 2013 Act, Defamation Act 2013. For a statement to be defamatory, it must cause or be likely to cause, quote, serious harm. to the claimant's reputation. For businesses, this often means proving significant financial losses.
That's right. Yeah. So it didn't mention anything about, did I miss that? Did it mention anything about it having to be false?
It says
Yeah, it
defenses
did.
here.
It just read it.
Valid defenses include truth, the statement is true, honest opinion, or privileged communication, example in Parliament or courts. It says here claims must be brought within 1 year of the statements being made as well. So you can't like jump back to it, apparently.
Right. So you can defend yourself, but that doesn't mean you'd win. It's not slander just because it's false. It's slander because it can damage the reputation.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah,
and harm the financial situation. Yeah.
The third party that lowers the claimant in the estimation of right-thinking members of society. So yeah, that's like,
so it's got nothing to do with whether it's a true or false statement.
But yeah, I mean,
so the person who has slandered could say, well, it's the truth, but then the prosecution could say, hang on a minute, you did this deliberately to do this, that, and the other, to have a negative impact on this, that, and the other, when the correct course of action would have been to take that to the police or to confront the person yourself in private and blah, blah, blah. So then it can be proven that that was ill intent and it was slander.
I thought, Rupert, you read about in the beginning of the sentence, you said something about false.
Yeah, I mean, it says like, it just says like key aspects of slander law in the UK. This is Google again, AI. I mean, yeah, I can show you on the camera.
It's okay. Just read it. Just read it.
It's
no, we can't. I can't see that. Just read it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, and then it says definition, right? A false spoken statement made to a third party that lowers the claimant in the estimation of right-thinking members of society. And then bullet point 2.
So a false statement, a false spoken statement.
Yeah. And then the second bullet point is the Defamation Act 2013. Under the Act, for a statement to be defamatory, it must cause or be likely to cause, quote, serious harm to the claimant's reputation.
Which means that the claimant would have to be deemed of good character for them to be able to be defamed in the first place.
Yeah. I think that's
so. True. If there was some lowlife that you spoke negatively of, they couldn't claim defamation because they haven't been deemed of good character anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. So, what's good character? Who's good or bad? Then, yeah, how do they?
And who was the judge of that? Yeah,
I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting when you see it says here damages and remedies. It says if successful, courts may award damages for financial loss, humiliation, and damage to reputation. Courts can also grant injunctions to stop further publication of defamatory statements.
Okay. Well, anyway, we don't want to look into that too much because we start going down that road. But there's been some interesting comments in the chat. We'll have a look at these before we then go on to Britannica. Where was it? Outlaw King said, getting rid of freedom. Where is it? I need to put this on screen. Getting rid of freedom of speech was the first thing all dictators and socialist governments get rid of, and modern day liberals love limiting speech. I can't disagree with that because I've seen that from modern day liberals or people who deem themselves as liberals, and possibly they're misusing the label when they're talking about themselves. I don't know. But yeah, I can't disagree with that statement.
Yep.
So, Smiler says 12,000 arrested between 2023 and 2025 for hurty words, highest figures in the world. Of those 12,000, 1,100 went to jail. in the UK. I think there's Smila's talking about there. So, wow, that's interesting. And I think regarding the taboo items of vocabulary that I was on about, Outlaw King says LTG, plus there's multiple definitions to most swear words. The person can't foresee them interpreting it the wrong way. Correct? Just like you can't be responsible for someone else being offended just because you've used a certain word that they deem as offensive. Like, that's their preference. That's not the law. Do you know what I mean? And for it to be law, where the majority are supposed to have agreed on it, aren't they? So, yeah. Threatening to harm someone is a declaration of intent, says Outlaw.
Cool, yeah.
And Tina said, what frees one oppresses another. There needs to be balance and fairness. Children are taught or learn what's okay and what's not. Successive governments want to over-regulate everything. But my problem with that is, well, when you're teaching children what's okay and what's not okay, has everyone agreed on what's okay and what's not okay? I mean, I'm a free speech absolutist, so I say you can use any word you like, and you need to express whatever it is you need to express.
The problem is,
I'm more against like unhealthy behaviors, like being deliberately malicious, malevolent, nasty towards people. And I think that needs to be addressed, not with necessarily punishment at first, but something more holistic, a more holistic approach to that. Not everyone is raised with the same values, is raised with the same manners, courtesies, and all the rest of it. Not everyone thinks the same under this same roof of the UK.
I was going to say what you just said, values. Where do we get our values from? And I think traditionally our values, moral values or behavior values comes from religion, because that's where they seem to be talked about mainly in the past and even today. And they usually encourage good values. I mean, good behavior.
Yes and no with regards to religion, because not everything that is taught by religions turns out to be good. But certainly in the UK, our values and our morals and everything come from what's called the Holy Bible, and therefore what you might call the Christian text, but not necessarily from Christianity, the religion itself, because all of the different denominations have differences, and we've seen how some of the people in those religions have conducted themselves. And I dare say the vast majority of us don't agree with those. We don't deem those as good values. Like there's been some criminality in those religions, hasn't there? So
I actually mean from the Bible, or from the text of the New Testament and the Old Testament. So moral values or behavioral values come basically from the text, and people have interpreted it in many different ways, and perhaps they've even used it wrongly to justify their own behavior in different times in history. But ultimately, the value system comes from the holy text of religions.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think all good comes from the holy prophets. They're the perfect examples.
Well, not necessarily from prophets, but from what's being written in the Bible,
their life,
right? And the Outlaw King says British values come from Jesus's teachings in the Bible. Okay. That's interesting. Right, so moving on from that, we're going to have a look at liberalism, what's written in the Britannica about it. Let's have a look at this, see how I can make this all as full screen as possible. That's
John
it.
Locke, yeah.
Okay, so this is in Britannica.com. Again, I'll be putting the link to everything that we look at, any links that we use. I will be putting them in the description under the video after the stream finishes.
Lieutenant, can I add one thing quick?
Sure.
Can you know that guy in the picture? You see John Locke there?
Yep.
He was. I just want to let everyone know. So a lot of people think he's, the father of liberalism. He was a Protestant Christian.
Right.
So if you trace all liberalism back, if you want the source of it, well, you're looking at him, John Locke, and I believe he was a Protestant Christian.
Well, hopefully we'll find that out as we read this.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So liberalism. There's some questions there. I don't want to look at them yet. I want to go through the article. And again, we've got the image there, John Locke, the philosopher John Locke, Oil on Canvas by Herman Verelst, 1689. It's in the National Portrait Gallery, London. Cool. So liberalism, political doctrine that takes protecting and enhancing the freedom of the individual to be the central problem of politics. Liberals typically believe that government is necessary to protect individuals from being harmed by others, but they also recognize that government itself can pose a threat to liberty. As the American revolutionary pamphleteer Thomas Paine expressed it in Common Sense, 1776, government is at best a necessary evil. Laws, judges, and police are needed to secure the individual's life and liberty, but their coercive power may also be turned against the individual. The problem then is to devise a system that gives government the power necessary to protect individual liberty, but also prevents those who govern from abusing that power. The problem is compounded when one asks whether this is all that government can or should do on behalf of individual freedom. Classical liberalism, an early form of liberalism, and modern neoclassical liberals, i.e. libertarians, answered that it is. Since the late 19th century, however, most liberals have insisted that the powers of government can promote as well as protect the freedom of the individual. According to modern liberalism, the chief task of government is to remove obstacles that prevent individuals from living freely or from fully realizing their potential. Such obstacles include poverty, disease, discrimination, and ignorance. The disagreement among liberals over whether government should promote individual freedom rather than merely protect it is reflected to some extent in the different prevailing conceptions of liberalism in the United States and Europe since the late 20th century. In the United States, liberalism is associated with the welfare state policies of the New Deal program of the Democratic administration of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whereas in Europe it is more commonly associated with a commitment to limited government and laissez-faire economic policies. See below, contemporary liberalism. This article discusses the political foundations and history of liberalism from the 17th century to the present. For coverage of classical and contemporary philosophical liberalism, see political philosophy. For biographies of individual philosophers, see John Locke, John Stuart Mill, John Rawls. Okay. General characteristics. Liberalism is derived from two related features of Western culture. The first is the West's preoccupation with individuality, as compared to the emphasis in other civilizations on status, caste, and tradition. Throughout much of history, individuals have been submerged in and subordinate to their clan, tribe, ethnic group, or kingdom. Liberalism is the culmination of developments in Western society that produced a sense of the importance of human individuality, a liberation of the individual from complete subservience to the group, and a relaxation of the tight hold of custom, law, and authority. In this respect, liberalism stands for the emancipation of the individual. See also individualism. Now, before I go any further, this brings to mind what you were saying last week, Nagar, when we were looking at stereotypical thinking. And you were talking about how it's extremely difficult for one to stand independent of the group and speak against the group, like to express anything that goes against the group mentality.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of that, because this makes me think, well, this could be where liberalism is a good thing, because it gives someone the right and therefore the protection to stand free and independent of the group and say something that's outside of the box and that grates on the group, because the group won't like it, but that person has that protection under liberalism.
Yeah. I think the other thing which it mentions here, because in the West, the caste or the tribe or the clan is not important anymore. The individual has become more important. So I know when I'm in Bahrain, people, when they're talking to each other, constantly referring to their family, or which family do you come from? What is your surname? And who is related to you? And they kind of talk about this as general, like we talk about the weather. It's kind of a topic of conversation. It never happens in Europe. I never heard people talking about.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second, Nagar. I'm struggling with your mic. Are you experiencing that problem as well, Ravioli, or is it just my side?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, the mic suddenly was speeding up and it wasn't clear, and it was getting. Yeah, it wasn't clear at all.
Your mic was going a bit robotic and speeding up there, Nagar. I wonder, try to speak again, see if you've still got the same problem.
Oh.
Are you there, Nagar? Oh, she's gone. Hopefully she'll come back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was interesting what Nagar was about to say on that. Yeah.
Yes, I don't want to move forward with the conversation until she comes back, actually, because I'd like her to start that again.
Yeah.
So we can hear her fully.
One idea in my mind, Lieutenant, is it just makes me laugh. Like, people who want to attack Christians or Jews or Muslims, even or God, they think they're liberals, right? They believe in this liberal, but again, the guy who founded it is John Locke. He was a Protestant Christian. So these people who want to subscribe to liberalism in a big way and deny God, but yet they become hypocrites because he was, and I just find it quite laughable, really. Oh, Nagar, I can't hear Nagar's microphone is not good. I can't hear her.
Yeah, that was very robotic. Let me have a look. Anything this side? Do you want to try speaking again? And then if we have the same problem, Nagar, maybe you should go out and refresh your page and come back.
What? Oh, hang on. There's a message. It's very bad, the sound, Nagar.
Okay, Nagar, try refreshing. Leave the studio, refresh, and then use the link that you used to come here again to get in. Sometimes that helps.
Yeah. It was strange too, because it was all right, wasn't it? It started off okay. I can't.
Yeah, she sounded great. Yeah.
I can't understand anything. I don't.
Okay. No, she says she can't. Leave the studio, refresh your page, and use the link to get here again. Right, she's gone. Okay, so yeah, so what are you saying?
Yeah, no, just yeah. I just find it funny, the hypocrisy in it, Lieutenant. Lieutenant. You know, because the guy was a Protestant, just John Locke, and people want to subscribe to it, but the Bible, or Jesus in the New Testament things was what inspired him, and is where his morality or ethics all came from. And yet people take what he his idea of liberalism, say, or the father of it, and yet I just find it funny. They deny God or Jesus or and yet they want to take his idea. I don't understand. To me, it's a bit hypocritical. I just find it quite funny.
Yeah, especially considering they stand there and oppose Christianity, the people who call themselves liberals today. But I'm just going to bring Nagar back on.
Okay, I
Hello,
can hear
Nagar.
now.
Oh, Nagar,
Hi.
you're clear.
We can hear you perfectly again. Brilliant. Oh,
as soon as I start speaking, it goes all funny. Why is that?
right.
Oh, no, you sound all right now.
Oh.
Now you sound okay.
It's okay. It's okay now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll continue, see how we get on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ravioli was just saying how he's noticed how hypocritical people are who declare themselves as liberals nowadays, yet they go against everything that the founder of liberalism was about, and that was Protestant Christianity.
John Locke.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, John Locke. So these people who are calling themselves liberals are going against liberalism because liberalism, it sounds, is steeped in Christianity, based in Christianity.
Yes. Actually, it's interesting because I didn't know that it started by him. But I kind of associate liberalism or liberals in society with atheists more than anything else.
Yeah, what we see today, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll, as we go on this, it looks like it's going to be another deep dive like the other topics that we've started on and that we will continue on. It looks like we're going to deep dive on this one and hopefully get the answers to those things. What's gone wrong here and there? If there's a complete difference, like if it's so, what might you call it, bipolar? Like you've got an extreme north and an extreme south of what liberalism was compared to what it is now. If they're completely the opposite, then we need to see what's gone wrong as well, don't we?
Can it be that any ideas which human beings come up with are good and to start with, but then gradually as life goes on, I mean, everything ages. So people add things to it, like our bodies age. So eventually these ideas manifest the flaws within them, like as our bodies age, it manifests the flaws and bits of it fall off. So communism in theory is a very good idea, but as we go on, then we find individuals who behave in very how do you put it, selfish way within that system, then the whole thing gradually it shows its faults. It's and the same thing happens within religions. I mean, people take the Bible, which is the word of God, and then they corrupt it or they they interpret it according to their wishes. So after a passage of time, things becomes contrary to what it was in the beginning. So I think this is about everything human beings come up with.
Well, I think that infers that certainly with religious texts, like you just said there, the interpretation of the texts and people manipulating and distorting and applying things wrongly isn't a fault of the text, is it? It's the person that's done that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think it's us as a human society. This is seem to be a characteristics of human society. We take something which is good to start off with, and it moves on in life, and then gradually it is corrupted. I mean, everything falls apart eventually. I mean, material things, if you give them long enough, eventually disintegrate. And the same thing seems to happen with ideas. They are very good, very coherent, and actually, at times goes on, they kind of disintegrate. So a new idea has to come to take their place, and new ideas always coming to take their place.
Yeah. So, but what you were saying, like, say, about communism's supposed to be a good idea. This is where it's different. With communism, it's pretty much laid out what is meant by it, right? There isn't any misinterpretations or anything like that. It's just that communism doesn't include the entire human condition. It's idealistic as opposed to guiding. It's very much, here's a structure, fit into it, or there'll be bother, right? That's the underlying current. Whereas, like, say, with religious texts, you can look at them and you can choose how you use them.
Lieutenant, for me, it's simple. Like I just think the decree and the will of God, no matter what, will happen.
Sorry?
You know, the will, the decree of God.
What do you mean?
But for me, that, you know, it will happen sooner or later. Whatever.
What will happen?
Whatever He decrees, I think it will happen.
Right. Well, despite what you believe, like getting back to the point, we're talking about, you know, communism supposedly being a good idea. It clearly isn't, because it ignores. Hang on, I'm not finished.
Okay,
it ignores the human. It ignores the human condition, and there's a lot in life and in everyone's development that it is ignorant of, because it is simply an ideology written up by a handful of people who expect everyone else to fit in with that, or they'll be cast out from that. And that basically means genocided off, right? We see that every time. That is communism, right?
Yeah.
Just as bad as, well, worse than fascism, actually. It's responsible for a lot more deaths, but they both come from socialists, right? They've both been written up by socialists. And they're all ideologues, even socialism. It's an ideal. It's how someone imagines the world should be. And they set about making everyone conform to that. Right? And that one person, not one of us, knows absolutely everything about the human condition and this great unknown, this world that we're in, right? So anyone saying this is the ideal world, be very, very careful around people who say that, okay? And don't give them any power whatsoever, because none of us knows the ideal world. None of these ideologies, right, are allowing anyone to have any say in it. It's just being imposed upon them. And therefore, I argue that communism is not good.
Yeah.
From the offset. Same with socialism, same with fascism, same with anyone's ideal, because we're ignorant to the potential of what this place that we're in could be. How do we know what the ideal world is?
So coming back to liberalism, so you don't think even liberalism is a good idea, really, or ideal idea? It's just that another idea which human beings have come up with.
Yeah, and, you know, potentially, I don't say that there isn't a place for liberalism, in the sense that I am for freedom of expression. I am for freedoms. I also think that with freedom comes great responsibility. And that could be deemed as anti-freedom, because you're tied to a responsibility, right? That you've got to commit yourself to that. However, that can be quite liberating in the sense that you know where you stand. You're not under any illusion that you're entirely free when you're not entirely free. There are restrictions in nature, let alone what we decide to accept and not accept and impose upon each other or ask each other to agree to, right? And all the rest of it. There are restrictions anyway. So you would therefore be under an illusion if you thought you could ever be entirely free. We look at people who've attempted to be entirely free, right? And we've got a great example in Aleister Crowley. Look at how he went with sheer debauchery.
Yeah.
Right. He destroyed.
I don't know who he is. Sorry. Sorry.
Well, he was a leading Satanist, right?
Yeah,
And he had bestiality. He had all the debauchery you can think of. So he abused a lot of people. He harmed a lot of people and himself. Just thinking that trying to live that he could be as free as he wanted. Do as thou wilt was his creed. Right? Do whatever you want. And that's where that led him, right?
I see.
Not a good place to be. So he cast aside any responsibility for anything. And it was catastrophic for the individuals, creatures that he was involved with and himself.
Where is this human values? What are the human values? What is it which a human being should aspire for? And where is it that, what kind of things should he aspire for? And the limits, I mean, we have to find the limits of human behavior, or what is the ideal human behavior. I mean, we're not animals, as you just said, because if we go that path, we become very corrupt, if you like.
Oh, we are an animal. We are an animal. How we choose to conduct ourselves is based on history, our history, how things have gone in the past. We've learned, and thus our knowledge of ourselves and our knowledge of potential outcomes has evolved. And that's what we're basing our decisions on.
Sorry, Lieutenant, I'm going to exercise my freedom of speech and disagree with you. And I have to say that I just don't agree that we are animals. I think we are humans, and there are values that human beings have. That
human beings are a species of animal. Yeah,
I have to disagree with you. Here. I agree that our bodies are are animal, similar to animals. We need to eat and sleep and have feelings, and they have feelings. But the thing which divides us or separates us from animals is our spiritual understanding and our intellect, if you like. Our values as a human being are different, and what an animal. A fulfillment of animal is to have enough to eat and to have a good environment to live in. But that is not enough for us as a human being. As a human being, we need to do what we are doing now. We need to talk to each other, and we find it stimulating to exchange ideas with each other. I mean, that's the only reason I come on these panels, because I like to talk and I like to hear what other people say.
Yeah. All animals do that, and we are deemed as an animal.
Animals don't exchange ideas. I mean, that is not what an animal does.
Yeah, they do. They do. They can figure out to do things and how not to do things together. Have you watched?
I'm not talking about doing things.
We are classified as an animal.
Physically, yes.
Yeah.
Cognitively, no. We are not animals. The concept,
ideas.
We
are deemed as animals.
Physically, yes. Spiritually, no. Animal has an animal
Right,
spirit. A
spiritually,
human being
right.
has.
How do you know that?
I know that because we just been talking about a divine revelation to human beings, which instruct us, and we abide by it. We choose to abide by it.
Have we agreed that there's a divine revelation? We talked about like texts, ancient texts. We haven't agreed on any divine revelation or anything like that. We were just talking about like what people have been doing and deciding and developing laws on, and you know what the guy who thought up liberalism, where he was coming from. But we haven't agreed on divine texts and all of that. But none of that is proof of whether we are animals or not. We are an animal.
Okay, I'll just have to leave it there and disagree with you, because I don't think animals sit together or come together in a group and just sit and talk to each other about ideas. And I'm not talking about what shall we eat tomorrow or things which human beings generally talk about, or what holiday we went to. I'm talking about exchanging and thrashing out just concepts which are concepts. They're not anything physical about them. Liberalism is a concept which is in our mind, and we talk about it. It's not anything physical on earth. It's not like a banana. It's something else. And I cannot see an animal, or have never seen an animal, two or three animals getting together and sitting and talking about a concept like liberalism and how we organize our society according to these concepts or ideas.
How do you know they don't? I mean, animals can be healers. They can let you know when something's wrong with you.
I agree with all of that.
They give off signals.
Yes, yeah, I agree with all of that.
How do you know that? How do you know they don't sit and discuss these things if they have that intelligence that we don't have?
No, I mean, the human beings are the greatest healers, more than animals. I know they have some natural abilities, but I mean, we have hospitals, we heal people, we have doctor surgeries, and healing goes on in the human society. The fact that the human beings live a lot longer than 48 years, which is a natural life of a human span of life. We live to be 90. It's a fact that we have developed medication and medicine. And this is all comes from people sitting together, thrashing ideas, developing new systems, and managing to apply health. Sorry, Rupert.
Well,
please go on.
Lieutenant, can I say so? I haven't said much.
Sure.
I'm just going to just kind of say just a few quick things, because I've been listening. Just want to add one thing. You know the thing about Karl Marx again and communism?
Yeah.
Just, never. I just hope everyone remember, when he wrote the Communist Manifesto and all that, remember, what I find funny about him is that he was actually born like a pretty comfortable middle-class family, and his dad was a very successful lawyer in Prussia at the time. And I again, that's another hypocrisy for me. Like, he writes this manifesto thing, and he wants people to kind of remain in poverty, and yet the guy who wrote it and authored it lived in pretty comfortable conditions. And I think he might have married a very rich woman as well. And his best friend was called Frederick Engels. He was like a really, really rich businessman, and I think he like basically bankrolled Karl Marx. And I just find it, as we were talking about hypocrisy again with John Locke earlier.
Yeah, they set up these ideals.
It's funny, the guys that say this stuff, right? Yeah, and they don't live by what they preach. They don't practice what they believe in. Right? So and then the other thing was with Aleister Crowley again. Yeah, that book was called The Thelema, I think, and it was all about how to perfect the most, like you said, the most arrogant, selfish, his will, the will of the human.
Yes, do whatever you want.
The thing is, as well as with what we were saying there with the animals and things. I do think the logic and reasoning we have, I think, is what separates us. I'm not here to pick a fight or disagree or agree with anyone. It's just what I believe. It's my belief. And you know,
Yeah,
and I just
that's
say, you know,
okay.
show me a wolf, a tiger, an eagle, a lion, a crab, a shark that can teach me trigonometry or can teach me differentiation or integration. Okay, if you can do that, then I might disagree. But that's what I think separates us. Okay, that's all I wanted to add.
They actually do that. They're very instrumental to
Okay,
us,
well,
animals.
okay, if you show me the one can teach me trigonometry
Listen,
and integration and
listen.
Newton's laws.
Who says trigonometry is a good thing?
Okay,
right?
Newton's laws. We'll go with that. The acceleration.
Who says Newton's laws or any of that is a good thing?
Well,
right? Who says that birds and what? Hang on. Who says that birds and whatnot aren't doing other things with their minds? That doesn't mean that we are superior to them.
Look, Lieutenant. I mean, that's just what I think. I also think that the reason allows us to. I think it helps us get nearer to the manifestations, to the prophets, right? I think it helps us.
What prophets? The manifestation. What do you mean when you say the manifestations to the prophets?
If you read the commandments of, say, Exodus, or you read.
Why? What do you mean?
I think you have to have. You need that with sort of your. Like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, you know, revelation to I don't want to get too off topic, Lieutenant, so I don't know if I should go on. Do you want me to continue? I don't want to like mess up the.
Shall I come in a little bit here?
I just need to understand what it is you're talking about.
No, you know, like the link, whatever revelation is, right? Revelation to something.
What revelation? Are you on about the book of Revelation?
No, I'm saying the messenger of God, the prophet.
May I come in, Rupert?
All right, okay,
May I come in?
Yeah. All right, if you want to. Right.
I think what Rupert is trying to say, correct me, Rupert, if I'm wrong, is that there are certain individuals who say that we have received a revelation from God. Jesus was one of them. Moses was another one. Muhammad was another. Baha'u'llah was one. The Bab was one. Abraham was one. Noah received a revelation from God. Buddha and Krishna say do
you have evidence that they've received a revelation from God?
Okay, let's go there afterwards. But they say, or the people who believe in them say that they've received a revelation from God. And some of them, we have books by them, the words which we have in books like the Quran or the Bible, the Old Testament or the New Testament.
Right.
Can you hear me? Are you there,
Rupert? I can hear you there, Ravioli.
Okay.
Hello? I think the thing's crashed. Hello?
I can hear you, Ravioli.
Hello? Okay,
we can hear you, Rupert. We can hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, Rupert. Anyway, there are certain ancient prophets that we don't actually have what they say they received from God. We know Noah had instruction to build a boat and the rest of it. And we know the story of Abraham, how he had to leave his people and go over a river. And I don't want to go in details on all this. And the most newest revelation is Baha'u'llah and the Bab. And we actually got their own handwriting where they say they received this.
No, hang on a second. I need to cut this short. So you've accepted that, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it is the truth. That's just like someone's testimony of something, right? I don't understand what this has got to do with humans being animals. We are animals. Okay, just because we're at the top of the food chain, this is from Outlaw King in the chat. He says that just because humans are at the top of the food chain and have the most evolved brains doesn't remove us from being animals, because many different species of animals show a lot of signs as we class as human traits.
What are human traits?
I just don't agree with a lot of that.
Okay, I just want to know what are these
we
traits?
are an animal, though. That is what we are regarded as in biology.
I agree. Our bodies are flesh and the same as animals. I completely agree with that. But the fact that we are sitting here, we don't even know each other. I know Rupert, but you don't know Rupert. You've never met him in physical life, but I have met him. But I have not met you, Lieutenant, and I don't even know what your name is. But we are discussing ideas together. We are doing something which is, we will both presumably deem as useful or enriching to our understanding. So
absolutely.
I cannot see that two wolves across the internet could make noises at each other and something beneficial to the two wolves will come out. I can't see that. I haven't seen it.
Just because they don't use the internet doesn't mean that they don't communicate. We don't know what they talk.
No, I'm not saying they don't communicate.
We don't know what they talk about, right? But we are regarded as animals. Whatever is their focus is their focus. We have our own focus, okay, for our own species, right? And all of the different species of animals interact with each other. We are all part of nature. Okay,
absolutely.
And humans are regarded as animals, right?
I don't disagree with anything.
Right.
Okay, I'll have to disagree with you about the fact that we are the same as animals, because even
I didn't say we are the same. We are humans. We are not like a cat or a dog or a wolf. I was just saying that we are animals because that's what we are regarded as in science.
It is a theory called the theory of evolution. It's never been actually proven.
I wasn't talking about I wasn't talking about evolution.
Yeah.
I was just talking about what we are regarded as.
But okay. Lieutenant,
as far as the species is concerned.
As the species, a human species, we create skyscrapers. We create the internet. And I had a talk today, and they were talking about these cables under the sea, which allow us to have internet with all over the world together and talk together. I haven't seen elephants producing these cables and putting them under the sea and making an internet, which it just belongs to.
And that doesn't mean that we are not animals.
I'll have to disagree. Okay. I'll have to just disagree.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Ravioli?
No, just thinking where to go.
We're supposed to be reading through the article.
All right then.
Okay. So I'll start off again. General characteristics. Liberalism is derived from two related features of Western culture. The first is the West's preoccupation with individuality, as compared to the emphasis in other civilizations on status, caste, and tradition. Throughout much of history, individuals have been submerged in and subordinate to their clan, tribe, ethnic group, or kingdom. Liberalism is the culmination of developments in Western society that produced a sense of the importance of human individuality, a liberation of the individual from complete subservience to the group, and a relaxation of the tight hold of custom, law, and authority. In this respect, liberalism stands for the emancipation of the individual. See also individualism. Liberalism also derives from the practice of adversariality or adversarianness in European political and economic life, a process in which institutionalized competition, such as the competition between different political parties in electoral contests, between prosecution and defense in adversary procedure, or between different producers in a market economy, see monopoly and competition, generates a dynamic social order. Adversarial systems have always been precarious, however, and it took a long time for the belief in adversariality to emerge from the more traditional view, traceable at least to Plato, that the state should be an organic structure like a beehive in which the different social classes cooperate by performing distinct yet complementary roles. The belief that competition is an essential part of a political system and that good government requires a vigorous opposition was still considered strange in most European countries in the early 19th century. Underlying the liberal belief in adversariality is the conviction that human beings are essentially rational creatures capable of settling their political disputes through dialogue and compromise. This aspect of liberalism became particularly prominent in 20th century projects aimed at eliminating war and resolving disagreements between states through organizations such as the League of Nations, the United Nations, and the International Court of Justice, World Court. Liberalism has a close but sometimes uneasy relationship with democracy. At the center of democratic doctrine is the belief that governments derive their authority from popular election. Liberalism, on the other hand, is primarily concerned with the scope of governmental activity. Liberals often have been wary of democracy, then, because of fears that it might generate a tyranny by the majority. One might briskly say, therefore, that democracy looks after majorities and liberalism after unpopular minorities. Like other political doctrines, liberalism is highly sensitive to time and circumstance. Each country's liberalism is different and it changes in generation. The historical development of liberalism over recent centuries has been a movement from mistrust of the state's power on the grounds that it tends to be misused, to a willingness to use the power of government to correct perceived inequalities in the distribution of wealth resulting from economic competition, inequities that purportedly deprive some people of an equal opportunity to live freely. The expansion of governmental power and responsibility sought by liberals in the 20th century was clearly opposed to the contraction of government advocated by liberals a century earlier. In the 19th century, liberals generally formed the party of business and the entrepreneurial middle class. But for much of the 20th century, they were more likely to work to restrict and regulate business in order to provide greater opportunities for labourers and consumers. In each case, however, the Liberals' inspiration was the same: a hostility to concentrations of power that threaten the freedom of individuals and prevent them from realising their full potential, along with a willingness to re-examine and reform social institutions in the light of new needs. This willingness is tempered by an aversion to sudden cataclysmic change, which is what sets off the liberal from the radical. It is this very eagerness to welcome and encourage useful change, however, that distinguishes the liberal from the conservative, who believes that change is at least as likely to result in loss as in gain. So that's interesting. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Interesting. I didn't know this is what conservatism means. It believes that change is likely to result in loss as well as gain. That's interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? Because I just thought to conserve is it's like trying to preserve and maintain against. Therefore, it would oppose loss, right?
Yes. But conservatism as a political movement, I mean, I think it has changed anyway, hasn't it? From the time of, I don't know, Churchill, he was a conservative.
He was.
To Boris Johnson. To Boris Johnson, who was a conservative as well. I mean, the conservatives always have been upper middle class or upper class people. And then
Actually,
it's
can I add one
conserving.
thing? Churchill was a member of the Liberal Party from 1904 to 1924, where he was a key cabinet minister.
Okay. But then they changed to Conservative, did they?
Yeah.
Yes, interesting. It is quite a shifting. The whole thing is shifts or changes as time goes on.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to find out if that's to do with what people are doing themselves with the actual meaning of liberalism. Because I dare say that liberalism will be what it was when it was first thought up. Yeah. But people are distorting that and twisting that and, putting that liberal cloak on, but they're not actually liberals. It's kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Well, the hypocrites, yeah.
But you see, both ideas have their merits. So liberalism, looking at for the individual and having the state quite small, so it doesn't impinge on the freedom of the individual, has got merits in the idea. And conservatism, which apparently means change, can result in gain as well as in loss. I mean, to be conscious of that, when you do anything, change anything, to be conscious that this could cause a loss as well as a gain, it has its own merit. They both have their merit. How do you balance? Then, of course, there is labor as well, which is the nearest to communism as we understand it. It's trying to look after the laborer or the common person who creates the wealth, not the people who have got wealth already concentrated in property, conservatives, or the liberals who were middle class, it sounds like from what we've read. But the ones who actually don't have concentrated wealth in property, but they create all the wealth that we use as a society. And that is got his merits as well, because of course they have to be looked after. So we need a system which actually brings all of that together.
Conservatism and liberalism.
And liberalism and labor too. So have the whole kind of different ideas together, because
I don't know about labor, because labor are socialist. Right.
Okay, so the idea of socialism then. I don't know how do you.
From socialism comes the likes of communism and fascism.
Yeah.
I mean,
socialism.
But that seems to be used as an excuse because it never ends well with socialism. It's just as bad as communism and fascism.
I've got something here might be worth reading.
Well, we can't go into that because we've pretty much come to the end.
All right.
So we're going to have to nip it in the bud. Please hang backstage. I'll just play us a little song.
Thank you, Lieutenant. It's been a very stimulating, stimulating discussion.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it, Nagar. I always love your input. Same with you, Ravioli. Thank you, everyone. The audience for being here, there, and everywhere with us. And a nice little song for the outro. God bless everyone.
She's laughing with a whiteboard clear, unpacking the fresh pack of pens, never willing to accept of fear. She's loved in many channels, every gate change on nights and
are we just us now?
Heaven help them when she recites. Mysterious life, girl got skills. She moves in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. Makeshift desk and a cat that bites. When you see her coming, take your pills. No place for snowflakes or sensitive hearts. When sentiment is left to chance, she'll send you back to your start. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switches to crumpet, bends under jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Verse by verse, exploring the text. She reads and recites, not knowing the tongue, learning every step of the way. Melts all your memories and feeds you facts. Her zeal is like fire, but her heart is of gold. We all know it, she's a smooth.
Hello? Can you hear me on the backstage?
Yes, we have now ended stream. Sorry, I just had to beat you both up there while I was playing that song just to end it nicely. That was, honestly, that was brilliant.
Good.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the conversations, Nagar. And,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think there's
I really
a lot more
do
to be said
appreciate
on
it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a big topic. I haven't even realized how big it was. I just thought, yeah, I don't really know that much about liberalism officially. I just know what I've seen here and there, you know, in the politics over the years. So why not do a deep dive on
it? Is strange, isn't it? Like how it is hard. I was thinking even at like A levels and GCSE at school, it is strange to define liberalism. It's never easy. Even teachers, there's always a bit you have to pause and think.
But you get an impression by observing society what liberalism is, but you can't actually completely define it accurately, can you? It's
it's changing a lot. Like changing rapidly.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. This isn't disconnecting us. I'm trying to end.
Oh, we're still live. All right.